waiting for the green flag to fly. It's an MX-5 and a Corvette on the front row. Green flag, and we're underway at GRIDLIFE Summer Apex. Pretty even start, but Aaron Lichty's car noses ahead here. Down towards turn one here, Tom, and Matan Rosenberg following Emile Tabb. There's Azimuth Muhammad poking out of the MR2 midfield, but pretty even for the first two rows.
Yeah, very 2x2. It's a killer start for Emile. He got to pick the pace just a little bit better. Probably started it in third instead of second. Emile Tabb, spins away. Jornstad's around. He's got a flat left rear tire for sure. Everybody avoids him, but at the front, Aaron Lichty really closed the door on Matan Rosenberg. I don't think Rosenberg was able to get a run up into turn number 3. No, and he's got a lot of attack from Matt Waldbaum working the outside of turn 3. That rarely works, but Waldbaum trying to. Now, Matan Rosenberg will, for the first time, be able to let that V8 breathe and drag race down. Will he be able to outbrake the C8? I doubt it.
Yeah, down towards turn 5. Big, heavy braking zone for the first time here. Here we go, and it's Tabb out front. Here comes Rosenberg up the inside, late on the brakes. He's going to get by.
Oh, he made a liar out of me. Look at that, completely side by side, nearly cleared him down the straight. That's the difference in a prep style, but Lichty going to hold the outside. Magnussen follows him around the outside. Big front wheel drive slide for the Volkswagen VR6 in the background. The field makes it all the way through, minus Jornstad with that flat tire.
Still door to door between the two Corvettes. They're 25 years apart here. With that's going to be squeeze on the exit there with Lichty on the inside, Rosenberg on the outside, but it's letting Tabb drive away here. Here comes Magnussen up the inside of Lichty as well.
Magnussen's going to take it off. The ABS failure from Matan Rosenberg goes for a big ride. He's going to lose a top 10, rejoins at about 11th.
Well, that was a big moment for Rosenberg, and that's going to reduce his confidence for sure in that car. He does have ABS. It did not seem to be working there. So that's a huge challenge for your championship leader as they come through the carousel now. It's going to reshuffle the deck here. So Lichty, I think, is going to keep second place for now. Here comes Waldbaum in the 90 car up to third place.
Yeah, that slide seemed to really catch Magnussen off guard. Something happened there, and he's dropped back down to 5th. Lewis Chatrick with a killer start up to 4th. It's been a poor start for Eric and Grimm. Unfortunately, that car qualifying 5th, but doesn't seem to have the pace to stay there. Dust kicking up at the right side apex, spooking everybody else as they come through. There's no incident, but they don't know that yet until they just clear 3 wide down to Canada corner. Oh, that's Michael Hilo up the middle of Pagano, and I think Zhang.
Yeah, Peter Zhang was just dodging the 32 at Jornstad, who had that issue at turn 1. Hope that he was able to clear. I don't see any indication that we have any sort of yellow over there, so everything looks good. Waldbaum all over the back of Lichty here as they come up over the crest, and the weekend points are going to shuffle quite a bit here with Rosenberg down the order as we come up over the crest here. We're going to watch the positions change. So here's how they were as they started the race here with Rosenberg with 71 points, Tom. But watch as they come across the stripe here. It's going to change. Tabb's going to come across the line. Rosenberg down the order a little bit, and there they go. Tabb now leading the weekend with just that little shift and shuffle.
And there's a little part of me thinking that first half of the lap, Aaron Lichty was completely happy to hold that field up just a little bit. He didn't really have the chance to do anything otherwise, but this has allowed Emile Tabb to really get away, and I think he'll be able to keep that position. Rosenberg really struggling with handling. Look at that car flying off the track at turn 1. He tipped the scales yesterday at 3,813 pounds in that Corvette in order to achieve that straight line speed you're seeing, and I think he might be finding out that it's too hot for that kind of thing today.
Out of the backstretch once again, Emile Tabb not only leading the race, but now leading the weekend. He won't know that behind the wheel of the car, but again, with Rosenberg recovering to 7th place, see how far he can claw up the order, managing that issue. Lewis Chatrick defending slightly from Andy Smedegaard in the black FRS in trail here, chasing Magnussen, who's 3rd in the championship points coming into the weekend. He needs to start beating Matan Rosenberg, but by more than this.
The rate that Matan has caught up to these guys is pretty wild to me. He is looking ragged, but it's a very, very quick car. He ran them down in less than 2 straightaways time. Smedegaard has got a big problem of a big white Corvette in his mirrors. He has some pace in that car, but it's not the most powerful. It's kind of one of the more mild as far as power goes. Lichty starting to run down Emile Tabb. What a shot. Flat slide through the apex. This is 10 out of 10 camera work, babe.
That was so cool.
Drone guy.
That was beautiful. Right down to the apex, watching everyone get on the curbing there. Aaron Lichty tracking down his teammate in that NB Miata, and Matt Waldbaum trying to defend from Eric Magnussen there in the gold BMW, and just behind, we're watching Andy Smedegaard. Oh, and Rosenberg's off in a big way at the carousel again. Another big wiggle, and he's off.
Yeah, the red mist got him. This is, I think the wall is not close to the track there anymore, so he should be able to just keep it through the grass, but he's throwing this one away all in the first lap and a half. Where does he come back through? Will he even come back through before we change shots? Yes, they're at about, I want to say, about 17th position.
That is going to be big news for the weekend points again as he continues to drop down the order. We'll see it again as we come across the line, but Tabb, Lichty, Waldbaum, your top three, Tom.
We saw Matan looking to the outside, Rosenberg in that Corvette, looking to the outside of Smedegard through the entry of the carousel, and as the camera panned, we lost that shot. I wonder if he just kind of got into the marbles around the outside, got into the drift tire more than anything, if you've been watching. Waldbaum now a big ride through the grass. He does not have a good straight line advantage in that car as it is, and now just lost even more. Look at Magnussen's going to motor him before they barely even clear the crest. He's going to lead this race into third.
All right, so watch this again as we come across the line here. Rosenberg had 66 points on the weekend, but again, look at Magnussen gain some ground here on Rosenberg, but as soon as Matan trips this, we're going to see him tumble down. Look, 63 points now, so that's a big swing again, 59, and as you see it all change and shuffle.
Waldbaum, a little bit of target fixation, I think, got too deep into turn number one, nearly got into the back of Eric Magnussen there, and now at Louis Chatroop potentially with a look up the inside, doesn't go for it quite there, but Waldbaum a little bit of a moment. He's got a teammate 2 cars behind in Andy Smedegard, but Chatroop has made himself a big factor this weekend. Rosenberg still going for it. He's getting himself back up into 13th right now, just trying to get behind and past Salil Shukla.
It's so tough because you're rattled. Something's not going right here, Tom, but you know that you have to keep up and get the best finish that you can. Championships are won on your worst days, and this isn't catastrophic for his title hopes, but it's not going to help. He's trying to drop races off his score. The more poor races you have, the less you have the opportunity to drop them later in the year. Alan Newsom, by the way, on pit lane, some kind of mechanical issue, it seems.
Magnussen a little bit wide at turn 6. Waldbaum and Chatroop even wider. We've got a pair of K-swapped cars there, the S2000, the BMW, then an F824 swapped BRZ. All very similar, very going to make speed very similarly. Smedegard looking on the inside, down comes the outside, but these top 3 are compressing. I think Lichty's got more pace. He certainly does. He's got the fastest lap of the race over Tabb.
And under the bridge here, right there, as Smedegard tries to over-under on Chatroop into the carousel, and he didn't quite get there. There's Magnussen, P3 on the racetrack, P3 in the championship standings, and have a look at this, Tom. Last time by, Aaron Lichty better by 0.8 of a second over Tabb.
Again, that Corvette not designed to be wildly heavy, detuned, and fast in a straight line. It's actually one of the better handling cars and lower top speed cars. Lower top speed, in fact, than Emile Tabb, pushing 2,800 pounds and 220 plus horsepower in that Miata. It looks like a Miata, but it's a very porky one, and he's really struggling to keep the pace. He's going to absolutely have a big attack for Aaron Lichty. Can he become the newest car to win a race today?
Yeah, here we go, up the hill towards Billy Mitchell Bend, and Andy Smedegard keeping Louis Chatroop honest. Louis Chatroop has had a fantastic weekend. I have to say, he's driving really, really well in this K-Power BMW M3 and looking really, really good. But the lead battle is closing up. It was 1.1 seconds at the line last time here, Tom. I'm expecting even less than that this time through.
Yeah, I agree. Really cool to see Chatroop. He's a pretty constant force, a pretty constant presence, excuse me, in this grid, but the car working well, the driver working really well, and he's just holding off Andy Smedegard for 5th position. Smedegard looks like he's got the pace, but nowhere to go with it. Pops to the outside, and he's going to hit the arrow wall. They're going to have a drag race into the braking zone just inside that access road. Watch the nosedive. Smedegard's going to keep it there. Turns in early. Chatroop seems uncomfortable, lets him through, and he's going to focus on getting the position back later.
And nicely done there by Chatroop. Fair, clean racing there. Have a look at the best lap time there. Rosenberg takes the best lap after all that drama, and last lap around Lichty, the 233.0, and Magnussen a 232.7. So Magnussen was quicker. 231.7 though for Rosenberg, and a couple 86s were in side by side. Peter Zeng's got a problem. He's pulling off course here, Tom.
Yeah, nice heads up driving to put himself in hopefully a position where we can stay at least just local yellow, if not green, against Dai Win there. Rosenberg finally got himself into some clear air. You see he's now wedged between Austin Hurdle and I think Dan Giraldo maybe in that Lexus, working his way up the field as well. It's a good performance for that car. Smedegard is through on Chatroop and now can focus on his teammate and buddy Matt Waldbaum.
For the lead, here comes Lichty on the outside at turn 7, side by side. The teammates now down the hill towards turn 8 at Road America. The battle is on. NBMX5 versus C8 Corvette. Into turn 8, Lichty takes the lead away from his teammate, and here comes Magnussen from 3rd place. Through the carousel now, Emile Tabb losing the lead, trying to get another victory after scoring a win at Mid-Ohio, the first race that car ever did about a month ago. but he's lost it. And here comes the gold BMW, Eric Magnussen.
How much respect shown there to allow somebody to even try to hold the outside. That's what GLTC is all about. Embrace the race. But now Emile Tabb has a big problem. It's a big gold BMW in his mirrors. Tabb with a big send. He's trying hard through the carousel and the kink. He's going to have a little bit more top speed, but he admitted to me yesterday this car doesn't feel that good at 2,800 pounds. I think that's showing right now. Rosenberg is clear on hurdle. He's going to focus on Morrison. That'll put him back up in towards the top 7, actually.
Yeah, again, this car looked really fast early in the race, but the more weight you have, the less you can maintain that over the course of the event. So certainly it'll make lap time, but it's not necessarily going to last. And Aaron Lichty right now building the gap pretty quickly on that second place 374 car.
Tabb looking pretty good on the dig through Canada corner, up Bill Mitchell Bend and into the final corner. What can the Miata do down the front straight with a draft? That's going to change the dynamic of this race very, very much so as the weekend points continuing to update as the positions swap.
And they're going to see a pretty big shift here. Again, Rosenberg back to 10th spot and Tabb losing the lead. It's a 4-point swing. Now there's only 2 points between Tabb and Rosenberg. Aaron Lichty up to 3rd now onto the podium for the weekend now that he's leading the race. So that's how quickly, look at Rosenberg. He gained a couple of spots up to 6th. And he takes the lead back in the weekend points.
And that's the way that this car is designed to work. It's supposed to just be able to motor past people on the straights to see if he can get his next victim. Lewis Chatroop will be that guy. But as we mentioned, looking back a little bit further in the field through the carousel, but working minute number 11 just now across the start-finish line. Maybe 2 more laps, potentially looking at the white flag this time through. Lichty has the issue of a drafty Miata behind him. Are they going to be side by side down into 5 this lap, maybe?
Yeah, not quite, but Lichty feeling some pressure, a little defensive on the backstretch. Pretty even spacing, but Magnussen really late on the brakes, and Tabb will leave the door open for him here. And this is exactly what Lichty would like to see. Look at the size difference. You could put the Miata in the trunk of that BMW.
Yeah, that was a big lunge from Magnussen. That was a very polite entry for Emile Tabb, in my opinion, embracing the race almost more than he even needs to. Keeps the nose there, though. They're going to go side by side for 7. No, Magnussen gets himself through as well. Tabb dropping not like a stone, but sinking slightly through the top half of this field.
Yeah, this is what Magnussen needs now, is to gain another spot here. He's up to 2nd after that pass on Emile Tabb. What Magnussen needs is a race win. A couple race wins today would really help him in the title fight, gain ground on the absent Catil and the struggling Rosenberg. I say struggling. This is not like a catastrophic day for Rosenberg, but it's not where he could be running if he had kept it on course the whole time. So this is big for that gold M3 to have a good result here and in race 4 later today.
Lichty, Magnussen, Tabb, Waldbaum, Rosenberg going for the pass up the inside of Lewis Chatroop into the kink. That's a very tough pass to make. Does Lewis embrace it? Yes, lets it happen. Rosenberg back up to 5th. What does Waldbaum have? Is he going to even notice that there's a big Corvette coming up on him quick? Is he going to be able to focus on the back of Emile Tabb? Can he do anything if he gets there? Lots of questions to be answered coming up towards what we believe will be the white flag.
Yeah, really impressed with the rebound for Rosenberg. This could have gone a lot worse had he not gotten back up on the horse here. So into Billy Mitchell. Tabb hanging on for a podium. Again, he had about a 1.2 second lead, and it's come back in the favor of the cars that were chasing him here in the closing stages as they have more tire as well. That will help you manage temperature over the course of the event. Look at Waldbaum closing in here. White flag displayed. This will be the final time around Road America for Eibach GLTC race number 3. 1 to go, Tom.
Top 5 absolutely on it right now, utilizing every inch of that track all the way out to the grass, just as you'd want. Lichty does not have the straight line speed here. He knows it. He's protecting the car with the straight line speed. Emile Tabb, the Miata, pokes to the inside. Is going to go for the outbraking maneuver deep on the brakes here inside the 4-board. He's going to close the door on Magnussen. No, continues to elect. Magnussen continues around the outside.
This is a great battle between these two. And looks like Magnussen will settle back into 2nd place. The big note there was with Magnussen pulling 2nd, Pips Lichty for the top runner in the weekend title. So, or for 3rd place, I should say. So here's Michael Pagano coming in shot. That's the orange and white BMW. See Dai Win just lost a little bit of a scrap there with Jason Gaitis in the 444. That's the E36 BMW. Front of your shot there. They were side by side a lap ago. A little bit more speed for the 444. Here comes Tabb up the outside of 5 over under here, Tom. Let's see.
He's going to try it, but Magnussen has just been so good on the brakes. Tabb struggling to get the power down. That Miata is just not that good for these slow speed corners with how much weight it's carrying on that chassis. Magnussen will still have a shot. Waldbaum putting himself into the same picture, and meanwhile in the background, Rosenberg just turned a lap 2 seconds faster than anybody else on the track. And that is, yes, a genuine 2 seconds. No one's holding each other up. He is just that much faster than everybody right now.
Really, really impressive. Down into turn 8. I think the pace is slipping away from Emile Tabb. He's really wrestling that car now. And Aaron Lichty able to focus ahead for a little while. I think another lap or two, and this 330 BMW is closing in half a second at the stripe. And Eric was really fast here last year. He's here fast here again. Got his first win of his GLTC career after beginning with us at COTA last year early on in the season. And he's now racked up a couple of them. And closing in on that C8 Corvette. This is not done yet. A couple of corners left, down to Canada corner. Aaron Lichty, his rearview mirror is filling up with number 330 BMW. Canada corner here, Tom, and Magnussen is there.
Magnussen's there, and he doesn't seem to have that big of a straight line advantage over the C8. Emile really doing the best he can with it. Waldbaum going, what the heck just happened? He just got passed for fourth by Matan Rosenberg, slinging the car through turn 13. I don't think Rosenberg's going to quite get to Emile, but that kind of recovery is pretty much unheard of. Waldbaum going for the lunge of the inside just to see if Matan will give it to him. Does not happen. Here we come to the checkered flag.
Up the hill here, Aaron Lichty in the number 66. First win at Eibach GLTC in quite some time. His first weekend of the year. And across the stripe, Aaron Lichty wins in the C8 Corvette over Eric Magnussen by just 0.2 of a second. Then it's Emile Tabb. Matan Rosenberg grabs fourth place over Waldbaum by a couple tenths of a second, actually by a second. So Waldbaum slipped up there in turn 14. Then the rest of the field comes across. Chatroop, Morrison, Hurdle comes across the line. Ayrton Grimm top 10. Daniel Geraldo in the number 440 grabs 10th place, and notably the weekend points with Rosenberg clawing his way back, has retaken the lead in the weekend. Tabb, Magnussen, and Lichty. Magnussen and Lichty only separated by 1 point for that last trophy on the weekend, Tom, and that's big news because we're going to have a race 4 invert that's going to really shake and shuffle. It's actually going to be a good thing for Rosenberg because he's going to be ahead, in theory, of the other cars that he was racing, Lichty, Magnussen, Tabb.
Yeah, and with the straight line advantage he has, I mean, it's almost his to lose, I would say, but he does have to keep it on the track. He really struggled at the beginning of that race. Down through the bottom half of the top 10, Hurdle was able to hold off Ayrton Grimm. Salil Shukla getting himself up into the top 10. Dan Giraldo, a great run in that Lexus, and we had a really cool drag race to the line between Blake Korth and Tom Banzarella, a VR6 Volkswagen against Porsche Cayman. That's GLTC.
Yeah, there's a look at your race results there. We talked about most of the top 10, but Salil Shukla in 10th place as we shift on down to page 2 here and have a look at 11th on back. Daniel Geraldo, we mentioned Carlos Mendez, Aslan Muhammad, Thomas Lathrop, Blake Korth, you talked about. Michael Pagano, nice result there in the 116i BMW. Jason Gaitis and Dai Win had a strong fight there, 19th and 20th. Matt Beck in his first race weekend of the season.
Yeah, tough to see it. A couple cars struggling with mechanical issues still as we go on. One of them was in the front for a bit. Andy Smedegaard, the number 212, still working on some teething issues with that new F824. Peter Zhang, we saw him pull off. Nice heads-up awareness to keep the race green. Michael Hilo took the green, but still some mechanical issues rearing their head.